morning. So I'm sure many of you have seen pictures of celebrities or even everyday people in the TV that had cosmetic surgery and that something went wrong with them, right? Well, even that doesn't stop people from going on and getting cosmetic surgery. Today, I want to convince you that it's not worth taking the risk of getting cosmetic surgery. There are 3 risks I want to point out to you, which are regret, pain, and even death. First is the risk of regretting. There's regret of getting it done and not feeling yourself anymore, because it's not what you're born with, and you might have a drastic change you didn't expect. For example, there's the actress Heidi Montag from the MTV show The Hills. She had 10 procedures in one day, including her second set of breast implants. Her transformation was so dramatic that when she was done from the surgery and she looked at herself, she didn't recognize herself anymore. In an interview, she stated, "I felt like I'm stuck with them now. Sometimes I wish I could go back to the original Heidi." I think that why should someone go through all of this procedure, and in the end, you're gonna regret it anyway, so might as well just, stay where you are. Secondly, is the excruciating pain. Just hearing the word surgery, you should think that there's gonna be some type of pain involved. So a couple of months ago, my cousin had breast implants, and she wasn't able to walk. Her brother had to carry her to the bathroom because she just had to be in bed for about a whole week until she finally was able to get up for herself and walk to the bathroom. And I actually went to go see her, like maybe a week and a half after her surgery. And it was just like if she got run over by a car, because she was like a zombie walking. She really couldn't move. And she told me that she said, "I didn't think it would hurt this much." She said even birth didn't hurt this much. And she was just like, it was a very disturbing thing to see, because you could really see that she was going through pain. So, I know that I can't handle pain, so I wouldn't do it. Like, I don't know. I just seen her made me really think about, like, all of this. So, like, why risk being in so much pain? You just be just fine, not necessary. And lastly, is the risk of dying. Now, you might think that I'm exaggerating when I say that you can die of cosmetic surgery, but it's possible, because you have all the small risks like blood clots, pneumonia, infections, amnesia complications, bleedings, and heart attacks. So these smaller risks can lead to death, just like a simple surgery can. So there's 2 cases I want to talk to you about. There's a case of Solange Magnano, a former Miss Argentina, who died at 38 after a buttock implant operation. She was injected with the liquid during the procedure, which traveled to her lungs and brain, causing a blood-lung artery. So after the whole procedure was done, she was not able to breathe, and then she passed away because, There's also the case of a German adult film actress, Carolyn Berger, who died at 23 after having her breast enlargement procedure. The actress had a brain hemorrhage, causing her to have 2 heart attacks and going into a coma. She dies 9 days after. So, if you don't really need surgery, I understand, like, obviously if you're dying and you need it, then you're gonna need surgery, but why go through this whole process that you might not even make out of it, when you can be fine, you can be alive, you can enjoy life? So in conclusion, I believe people should not take the risk of regretting what you've done. being in a terrible pain and even dying, just to say something about yourself. But just accept who you are and appreciate what you have, because it's a whole lot easier than, putting your life at risk. Thank you.
Marissa, you here?
Yeah.
What did you think?
I think she did pretty good. Like, she stood well, and she read a little, but it wasn't like too noticeable because she still like talked to the audience a lot. And maybe if she was just a little louder, because I think maybe you just like you're loud, but maybe just like smile or something, and then paused a little a couple of times, but you always picked it back up to where it wasn't like a big deal or anything. And then you had the good example about your cousin because it was someone you knew, and it was just a good example. That's it.
Okay. There are some things in here that are pretty solid. I think that you've got a pretty straightforward goal and you express it clearly. There's a good structure that you are consistent about sticking to. You find some dramatic stories to pull us in. What's problematic is that you need some more information to make it an argument. I mean, the examples that you have, you talk about, what's her name, Heidi Montag, is that her name? She talks about having this sense of not being herself. And the question that immediately comes to my mind is, well, is that typical of people who get any of these kinds of surgeries? First of all, it sounds like she's having a hell of a lot more surgery than anybody else is having, so I'm not sure she's a good example to be making a generalization from. But if there are thousands of people getting surgeries, cosmetic surgeries, what percentage of them seem to have this kind of regret or this feeling? You don't seem to suggest that anybody has a positive outcome with that. If that was the case, nobody would be doing it. So somebody has to be having some kind of positive image here. And I think that you kind of undermined your argument by not confronting people's desires to have this kind of surgery or the expectations that they have. You don't really talk about whether or not those expectations are realistic or whether there is something satisfying and valuable for some people, but you want to warn other people about it. It just seems to be like you're making a universal statement: stay the hell away from this. And there are times when a lot of people want to make a statement like that, but it's not necessarily going to be all that convincing. I think there are, for instance, a lot of bad things about consuming alcohol that are problematic, and most people would recognize those sorts of things. But if you tell the people, so stay the hell away and let's never drink again, I think you're going to find there are a lot of people who go, well, I don't know. Do I get hungover and do I get sick and do people die in accidents? Those sorts of things do happen, but there are millions of people who don't have those kinds of problems every day who do this. So why is this why is this the standard that I should use? You talk about, for instance, on the third point, when you talk about the risk of dying, you got two good examples that are pretty effective at giving us a sense that there is some sense of mortality here. On the other hand, how many people die as a result of the surgeries that are related to plastic surgery? What percentage of people who undergo this surgery have any kind of complication? The fact that somebody dies as a result of plastic surgery, well, you know what? 40,000 people die every year getting in their car. That doesn't keep people out of their cars. It's only if you give us some sense of proportionality or some level of risk that it's going to be meaningful. When you say your risk of dying in a car accident is 4 times greater if you're intoxicated, or 10 times greater, or something like that, then people can say, oh, well, there's a reason definitely not to drink and drive, because I can compare it to what I'm normally taking as a risk. You just need to have some more information on all of those points. I like the story that you told about your cousin. I think that there's there's some good personal, emotional involvement that goes on there, and you're pretty vivid in the way you describe what's happening. But I'm, again, back to the same situation. If there are all these people getting this stuff all the time, somebody's got to have some sense that this is worthwhile, and I don't know that this is the most typical kinds of things. So it sounds to me like you are making generalizations from the worst case scenarios, and maybe they are typical scenarios, but I have no way of knowing that. And that's, to me, the problem here. This is a reasoning issue. It's not so much an emotional issue. I think you do a good job with the emotional component, but in making a generalization, we've got a problem here. All right. Thank you.